Don't try this at home. I always wanted to say that. You might be asking yourself, what am I doing in this garage in front of this crusty old safe? Well, today's lesson is going to revolve all around this safe, which I bought back in 2008 or 2009 after the whole world went to crap. During the housing crash, a lot of people were prepping themselves for doomsday, and I was no exception, and I fed into all that hype. And I bought a lot of silver and gold. Well, not so much gold, more silver because I saw more upside in that. And I stashed it away and I put it right here in this safe. But the only problem with that is that it hasn't really done much for me in the last 10 plus years. Hasn't returned me a dividend, haven't really done anything. And the worst part is I can't remember the combination. I've got the key, which is a miracle, but I don't have the combo. I've tried going on YouTube to see if there's a way to crack into this thing. I know I registered it on Century State's website, but it seems like I got to pay $30 to retrieve that combo now. And I'm just going to either have to do that, or God forbid I have to pay for a locksmith to come out here and drill this thing open. But the reason why I'm getting into this with you today is because I want to talk to you about how terrible of an investment this was for me and how inconvenient it is to lug this thing around when you've moved 3 times in the last 10 years. But most importantly, how can we invest in gold and silver without requiring cracking open a safe? There's got to be better ways, right? And not only that, but there's got to be better alternatives to gold and silver. And that's exactly what I'm going to cover today. And I'm going to share with you what I plan to do once I crack this thing open and liquidate everything inside. So let me start off by telling you that I am no financial expert. What I'm telling you guys is stuff that I actually lived through. So let's backtrack to 2008. I was working as a real estate agent and a loan officer. And at that time, the economy was tanking. And because of that, I needed to find out what I could do with all the spare money I had laying around. I couldn't just wait. So what I did was I went on YouTube, I went on the internet, and I just started researching what can I do and what can I invest in to make sure that my dollars that I have don't go and just evaporate. Remember, around that time, there was talks about there being a bailout. There was in excess of $700 billion. And at that time, that seemed like a lot of money. I know now $700 billion seems like nothing compared to what the stimulus plans today cost us. But back then, that was the biggest bailout we've ever seen. And because of that, a lot of people were saying that our money was going to get devalued, and to the point where it was almost going to be hyperinflation. For those of you who don't understand what that is, it's basically when if you bought a loaf of bread today and it cost you $5, tomorrow it might cost you $10, and the day after that it might cost you $20. It's just out of control inflation, and it's not something that we've never seen before. It actually happened in the Weimar Republic in Germany, and it also happened in Zimbabwe, where people actually needed wheelbarrows to bring money to buy food. Those were the kinds of pictures that people were painting, and because of that, they were also hinting that gold and silver was a good way to protect yourself against any of these things happening and possibly evaporating all the money I worked so hard for. So that's exactly what I did. I took a lot of my money, pretty much every cent that I had left over, and I went out there and I bought as much physical. And remember, they weren't telling me to go out there and buy other kinds of investments. They were saying physical gold and silver. That's the best thing you need to have. So I did. Some of the reasons why I felt it was so compelling to invest in gold and silver was because in 1913, when the Federal Reserve actually was formed, from that point on to now, we've lost about 96% of our buying power due to inflation. Not only that, but the government thought it was important for them to actually capture our gold because of the bank run that we were having during the Great Depression, because everyone wanted to take their gold and silver out of the banks. And because of that, the government made it illegal to even own gold, and everyone had to turn their gold in around 1933. The other things I wanted to tell you is that during that time, if you were investing, you were also paying attention to the things that were going on around us, such as shows on TV like Doomsday Preppers. And I gotta admit, I fell victim to a lot of these things. I actually started stockpiling food, stockpiling water, and you just never knew what was gonna happen. So you better safe than sorry was my mentality. But the problem is that while I was preparing for the end of the world, a lot of really smart investors were out there buying all these assets. They were undervalued because nobody was buying anything. Nobody was buying stocks, nobody was buying real estate. But meanwhile, I went where I thought was safe, which was gold and silver. And how did that turn out for me? Well, not very good at all, because gold and silver has actually been pretty flat since I bought it. I've really made no return on it whatsoever. It hasn't paid me a dividend. I haven't been able to leverage it to buy other things. I haven't really been able to even see it because it's been locked away. So what would have been some better investments? I could have invested in real estate and been up a few 100% depending on the market I went into. I could have invested in Tesla and been up 17,000%. Hell, I could have even bought some limited edition sneakers and been up over 5,000%. So the fact that I chose gold and silver to be my main investment during that time really was the worst decision I could have ever made. And even if I would have bought it at the very lowest point, I wouldn't even have really made that much money, because today silver, which is the majority of my holdings, only trades for about $25 an ounce. So what that means is that I was pretty much, if you include inflation, pretty much flat, if not losing money, because I was buying silver between $15 to $30 an ounce. So why do so many people like Robert Kiyosaki and Peter Schiff and many other YouTube channels who promote gold and silver investing, why is it that they're so compelled to tell you guys that this is a great investment? That's simple, because they're completely involved in the gold and silver market. Peter Schiff has a company that sells gold and silver bullion. That's why they keep telling you that these investments are so great. There's entire YouTube channels that are dedicated to silver and gold investing, but a lot of them sell the stuff. So of course they're telling you it's a great investment. And if they're not selling it to you, they're direct affiliates with it. Now, the other problem with gold and silver is if you ever try to sell it, it's going to be a real problem. Plus, you're never going to get the true value for it. So let's just say the spot price, that's the price that it's accepted that the value of the asset is. So let's say for silver, it's 25 bucks. Well, they won't pay you 25 bucks. You'll be lucky to get $20 or $22 if you're really lucky, because the dealer is going to want to make their spread. So what that means is that they're going to pay you $22 and then they're going to sell it to someone else for $30 an ounce, because they won't sell it at spot price either. They're going to sell it at spot price plus around 10%, if not more. So let's just pretend that you take matters into your own hands, right? What if you try to sell it to somebody on Craigslist or eBay? Well, if you do it on Craigslist, you might get mugged. And if you do it on eBay, what's going to happen is this. You're going to mail it out to someone. They're going to receive it. They're going to keep the real gold and silver, and then they're going to send you back a lead bar that's painted in either gold or silver coloring. And then they're going to tell eBay that they didn't want the product that you sent in. And eBay is going to side with them because that's their return policy. I would never in a million years use Craigslist or eBay to sell any gold or silver. The only option we're left with is to sell to a dealer, and the dealer is gonna have to make their markup. It's just part of their business model. The other problem with investing in physical metals is that you have to store it somewhere. So if you decide to store it at home, it's gonna fill up your safe really quickly. It did for me. Only a few $1,000s already filled up the safe. So either you could do that, or you can put it in a safety deposit box. But a safety deposit box, it could also come with charges, and there could be a run on the bank, who knows. If you're dead set on investing in gold and silver, I gotta admit, it's still better than keeping your money locked up in the bank. So let me give you some alternatives you can use so you don't have to keep the actual stuff stuck in your house. So before I answer that question, I just want to let you know that I've been on hold with SentrySafe pretty much all morning. And I'm not going to be able to get into this safe with their help. So I went to Home Depot and I got myself Thor's hammer, and I got myself some backup just in case. We're going to try to get into this thing in just a little bit. But before we do, give it an attempt, and I hope I don't hurt myself while doing it, I just wanted to let you know that if you still want to invest in gold and silver and you don't want to go through this nightmare that I'm going through right now, well, your best bet is going to be investing in ETFs such as GLD or SLV. These are funds that actually hold the assets for you, and it tracks the price of gold and silver as it moves up and down. So that might be a much easier way for you to get involved in that. The other way for you to get involved would be to purchase some of the mining stocks. Think about it. Mining stocks could actually do way better than gold and silver itself because they're companies, and these companies have unlimited upside. But they also run the risk of also going bankrupt, so you can also have unlimited downside. Well, you can have a limit to your downside. You can lose all your money. But if you decide to go that route, you might be actually doing better than people who invest in gold and silver, and probably much better than I will with the physical stuff. So once I crack open this safe or land myself in the hospital, what I plan to do with this stuff that I get out of here is actually sell it to a broker. But the problem is I've been on the phone with brokers all morning and they don't want to let me go inside their place and film. And I was wondering if you would let me document the process.
We're too busy at the counter to allow that.
And I want to take you guys with me, so it looks like it might be a little bit of a dilemma with that, but I do have a backup. I've actually saw that there is a coin show coming up in Tampa on January 2nd. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself a table so I can just sell it to the public. I'll probably end up selling it for a lot more money that way anyway. So I guess we're going to Tampa. What I plan to do with this is invest it all in Bitcoin. I've been procrastinating for so many years now to get involved with Bitcoin, but I will tell you this, Bitcoin has actually been in our DNA for the last few years. In 2017, Culture Estate was actually the world's first brokerage that I know of that actually paid their real estate agents in cryptocurrency. We actually even got interviewed by a couple of publications, and it was pretty cool. But I saw that the price was way too volatile for me to get involved at that time. Not only that, but I started to see people who had no business investing telling me about cryptocurrency that they were investing in. So I took that as a sign of a bubble. And it has been very volatile since then. So I'm kind of glad that I held off. But right now, Bitcoin is trading at $24,000 at the time of this video. But what I'm hearing is extremely bullish. What I mean by that is that there are people who I respect dearly, such as Cathie Wood and Chamath. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, but the reason why I'm bringing them up is because they have some targets on Bitcoin that'll completely blow your mind. Cathie Wood says that Bitcoin can hit $400,000 to $500,000 a coin. If you think that's a lot, well, Chamath thinks that Bitcoin can hit $1 million a coin within the next 20 years. Cathie thinks it's going to go that high because there's institutions and funds that still have not invested in Bitcoin whatsoever as a diversification. And when they do, the price could skyrocket. So one of the calls that I made this morning to the broker and transferring it into Bitcoin, so I wanted to document the process.
That's funny, man. You know, before you even finished that sentence and that thought, I knew that's what you were saying. I knew you were going there.
Yeah.
I could have finished that sentence for you.
Nice.
That is so funny. Yeah, people taking profits on gold now, being that it's, you know, we hit 1900 again. Yeah. And it's throwing it all in Bitcoin, man. I saw it all the last couple of weeks.
So I guess I'm not alone in making this decision. Okay, so now enough talking. Let's get this puppy opened up. So first we're gonna try the saw, but I just gotta remind you guys, don't try this at home. I always wanted to say that. You got it. That's it. Simple as that. It's just a little piece of sheet metal. All right, so that wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. And just in case you're wondering, that is bacalao or codfish hanging in the corner, and it smells horrible in here, and I don't eat fish, so it's even worse. So this is what investing in physical silver looks like. As you can see, very nice. You can actually get addicted to collecting these things because they're so beautiful. It's called catching the silver bug. Here's a little gold horn if you guys want to see what little gold chips look like. These you can actually buy in grams. These are pretty nice. I might hang on to these. But for us, this is just sitting here like paperweights. So this is the stuff we're gonna go sell in Tampa at the coin show. I can't wait to go there so that way we can actually capture some really cool stuff in and around Tampa. If you guys have suggestions, leave it down below. So with that being said, guys, if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe and join the tribe, and stay tuned for our next video. And if you want to see more videos from us, we'll click on one of the videos on the screen right now. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in Tampa.